Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about instilling confidence in children. Now, I felt like this is a really important topic due to a conversation I was having a few days ago with some other parenting experts, and they were talking about superpowers that parents possess and how they sort of use these powers in helping their children develop and grow. And I felt like confidence was one that I particularly use, and often it's really overlooked in comparison to other skills you might like your children to have or to develop. And that's why I want to talk about the importance of it today. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to do is define, according to the dictionary, what is confidence. So confidence is the feeling or belief that one can have faith in or rely on someone or something. Now, if you put this into context in terms of thinking about your own children, this is a skill which I feel is really important that all children should have, that feeling or the belief that actually, they can rely on themselves even when things aren't quite going right. And let's have a look at the different reasons why this is actually so important. Now, the first reason why it's important is because confidence ensures that children can pick themselves up even when things are going wrong, and even when the skills that they are developing aren't going as they want them to do. And as children grow older, they develop a huge number of skills, as we already know, developmentally, right? They learn how to read, to write, to do sports, all sorts of different things. And it's really important that they don't just learn skills, but they learn to have confidence to go alongside those skills. So, for example, a child might be really good at something, but then they might be extremely shy or have really low self-confidence in executing that skill, even though they'll be quite competent at it. And that's why it's really important that they know how to handle themselves if they aren't successful. And, by being able to experience mastery at something, they should be able to rebound from failure if something goes wrong as well, because actually they've got that confidence to be able to do that. The next thing that as parents we can really do is encourage our children to have new experiences. So this could be anything, things like, new hobbies like baking or cooking or sports, knitting, whatever it is. And the reason why this is so crucial and important is because it allows a child to try something that they've never tried before, then build up the confidence to be able to do that thing, and also within the hobby or whatever it is that they're doing, to be able to experience sometimes, a failure or not being able to be great at it, but all the time they're building up confidence, which is really important, because then they'll be able to think that actually I can tackle anything, even though I couldn't do this skill before, but I've learned how to do it. Maybe I can learn something else. So say, for example, a child struggled with one particular area, I don't know, academically, and you gave them the opportunity to thrive in a different area. Maybe it was something fun or relaxed, a completely different activity, and they started to really take interest and build up their confidence and build up their ability in this activity. Then that could transpire over to the activity, the first activity that they weren't so good at, because in their mind they're having a whole shift of attitude and change in their belief, and they can really start to think that actually I can do something and I can achieve something and I can do something new that I couldn't necessarily do before, inshallah. And that's why this is one of the reasons why building confidence is so important, and this is how you can do it in one way. Another really important thing is to let children experience failure. Now, this is so important. We should allow children within whatever hobby or activity they've chosen to experience lots of trial and error until they get that perfect result, because none of us got the perfect result the first time, right? And as adults, we've had huge amount of life experience compared to, young children. You should allow them, when something goes wrong, to problem solve, right? And as parents, we sometimes have this tendency to just rescue children or to do it for them or to make it right. And by doing that, you're not allowing them to experience actually in real life. Sometimes things won't go your way, so what are you going to do? You're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to think beyond the box. You're going to have to think about the steps that you need to do to make this thing right, or to make this thing happen, or to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. So by allowing children to sometimes, experience failure, it lets them know that actually there's an alternative solution, and actually sometimes things aren't going to go my way in the real world, but it's okay. I'm going to move on. It's what I do next that's more important. And this is another way in which we can really help them to grow in their confidence, inshallah. Another one is to praise the child's effort and not the outcomes, because imagine your child, for example, did an exam and they could only achieve a certain result because that was their ability, right? So, for example, say they did maths and they brought their report card home to you and they achieved a C, but actually they worked really hard to get that C. Now, imagine you were results focused and you could only see that they'd achieved a C, whereas maybe you wanted them to get an A or a B. You can't really praise the effort if you're just looking at the outcome. You can't do that. And then imagine how the child feels if they've put all that effort in and that was really the best of their ability, but you can't see beyond the outcome. And that's why, because we know results could vary in real life, it's always important to encourage the effort, encourage the fact that, they've put in all this hard work, and that's what you're trying to grow, because by responding like that, you're allowing them to grow in their confidence, inshallah. Another thing that we can do to help with children with their confidence is goal setting. Now, these can be short-term goals, like this is what I want you to be able to do, I don't know, in this week or today or by the end of this session. And then you're thinking more long-term goals, like by the end of the term or the end of the year. And always remember, goals have got to be, realistic. Think about the time, think about what it is that the outcome looks like. Is it going to be something that they're going, so say for example they're doing a sport, is it they're going to get a certain result in that sport, or they're going to have done something they've never done before at a certain level, etc. And it's got to be practical and doable for both of you as well. And the reason why this is important in respect to confidence is because it's a really good measurable way of showing the child that actually you couldn't do this before, but now look, we agreed that you were going to be able to do it by the end of the term, and you have done it by the end of the term, so you can achieve what you want to achieve. And this will give them a nice little confidence boost, and it's something that you agreed within a certain a certain amount of time, and it was measurable and it was quite specific. So it's always good to do goal setting, and this will also obviously prepare them for real life as well, and for them to have the confidence when they grow up, whether it's academically or in their personal life, to be able to be confident in setting goals themselves, in getting things done. And this doesn't even have to just be academically. I mean, even for household chores, if you're struggling, you could have family meetings and discuss what you want done and when you want it done by. And, this is something that we discuss in our parenting workshops as well, trying to agree goals with the whole family, especially with the children, and trying to let it come from them. What can they realistically do? And which time frame can they do it within, for example. So that's another thing that we can really think about. And don't forget, practice makes perfect, right? By allowing the child to really practice something again and again and again, it leads to competence, and it lets them realize that actually it's not going to happen overnight, but just acknowledge the fact that they're still going at it and they've still got that confidence to keep trying as much as they can. And think of it as an investment both for you and for them. So maybe they'll not get it on their first attempt, maybe they'll get it on their 10th attempt, but actually if they just keep trying, this is another skill that you're building up, the ability to, just keep trying and being competent at something, but, getting to that result by practicing so many times. Okay, another really important fact is encouraging curiosity. Now, the reason why this is really important is because research has actually shown that children who are really happy and comfortable and able to ask questions at home then know that actually when we go to school in the real world, we can start asking the teacher questions, and by asking questions, they get more information. By getting more information, they can critique it and their knowledge grows, and those children do quite well. So this is again related to confidence, because children should be really confident in being able to ask questions. So I know sometimes as parents, there's only so many questions you can answer, and sometimes when you get really busy and children ask so many questions, you might be dismissive of them, or sometimes siblings might laugh at them, or sometimes it might be something that's discouraged, or you might say, well, that's really obvious. But actually, you should really encourage them that their minds are quite little, they're still developing, and this is an excellent opportunity to say to them, that's a really good question. We might even say something like, why don't you find out the answer? Let's find out the answer together. Or I can't answer that right now, but we'll try and find out the answer to it later on, maybe tomorrow, whenever you can. But the point is, if you really give them that time to foster the ability to ask questions, then they'll be confident in asking questions in real life. And also, they won't just take things for granted either, or for face value, or when they're told something in, outside of the home, they won't just believe what they're told. They'll have that critical thinking ability to question it and think, actually, well, why is this like this? Or what about that? Or, I've got a different opinion and here it is. And they should be confident to be able to say that as well, inshallah. Now, another thing that you can do is be the teacher yourself by teaching them what you know. And this is really important because say you're really good at a skill yourself. So say, for example, you're really good at baking. Why don't you teach them that? Because it'll give them the ability to see, actually, this adult in front of me, this role model, my mummy or my daddy, whoever it is really good at this. That means I can get really good at it. And because you're already skilled in that, you can be a really good teacher. And this can be for absolutely anything. Like if you're good at building, if you're good at making things, just use this opportunity to teach them. And by teaching them, you know how to fix the problem if it goes wrong. So for example, things like, say you're building and it doesn't go to plan, you can say, oh, what about this? Or we can do it in this sort of a way, and encourage them to build it again or build it in a different way. And by doing this, you're already an expert in that field. So you'll be quite happy to be able to guide them through the end result till they're finished making, building, whatever it is that they're making. And by doing this, lots and lots of times, you're not only skilling them up, not only are you using that as an opportunity to spend quality time together, not only are you bond building, but you're also instilling confidence because the end result's going to be good because that's something that you're an expert at or you're really good at. So inshallah, that's something that they can become really good at. So that's another opportunity by, and Islamically anyway, you are their first teacher. So it's really important that you utilize whatever skills you have. And like I said, it doesn't have to be something really obvious like baking or building. Whatever it is that you're really good at, use the opportunity to be a teacher to them so that you can, again, use that area of expertise to help build their confidence, inshallah. And the last point that I wanted to talk about is keeping it age appropriate, right? So when you're teaching them, or when you're doing any activity, make sure that it's appropriate to that child's age. You're an adult, you've had whole life experience, they're a young child. So whatever it is that you want to do with them, and when you're thinking in particular about confidence building, when they're very young, they're going to act according to their age. A 2-year-old and 3-year-old is just a toddler. They are not going to be the same as even a 5-6-year-old, and the 5-6-year-old are definitely not going to be the same as an 11-12-year-old. So whatever you're doing, think about your language, try and keep it age appropriate. If you need to come down on their level, come down on their level. If you need to keep it really informal, keep it really informal. It's not something that you have to go into teacher mode and think all the time that, oh, I'm teaching them confidence today, so I'll talk like this and I'll behave like this. No, keep it really informal and natural, and that's all good and it's absolutely fine. It's the skill at the end of the day that you're trying to get them to build up, inshallah. I hope you found this talk useful, inshallah, and keep tuned for more reminders. Jazakumullahu khairan for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.